Hey guys, how's it going? Kripparrian here. Today I want to show you guys an amazing game I've played a little bit of recently, and it is HEX, Shards of Fate. Now, this game is unlike any other I've played in the past. It has some similarities to other games that I've played, but most of those games are the ones I've liked the most. They're ones that combine the card game experience with kind of like the all-in world RPG style experience. HEX kind of combines the MMO style of gameplay with that of a card game. And you'll see how that works, and you'll see just how amazing it can be to play this combination. Now, one other thing that sets HEX apart from a lot of the other card games I've played is the amount of depth. Now, there are advantages and disadvantages to an extreme amount of depth in a game. The disadvantage is it can be very daunting to start playing the game, but these are the type of games that I love to play because I can play them for very long periods of times. You know, you play for the first day, you're a little bit uneasy, you don't really know what's going on, but, you know, on the second day, you kind of have it figured out, the gears are moving through your head, you want to try this, you want to try that, you want to try all these different type of combos, these decks, these situations, and, you know, that's when you really get inspired and really very addicted to the game. It is not the type of game that you're going to be great at, you know, in the first few moments that you start playing, even though you probably have played some card games before. But it is going to be that game that's going to have you entertained for a really, really long time. Now, I want to show you guys some gameplay, I want to show you guys some of the experiences that I had, but before that, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an intro to the game. Now, be a bit understanding, this game, HEX, really values its depth, its complexity, so it will be difficult to understand all the concepts all at once, but if you choose to play, it is a free-to-play game, and yeah, there are aspects of it, you can purchase packs, but the part that I played so far, and the part that I really like, is the PvE experience, and you definitely don't really need to spend any money for that. So let's look at a card here. This is one that they use on their website as an example. It is Zoltog, and it's just basically a minion, but in this game minions are called troops. So this troop, you can see its cost at the top, the card name. The threshold is how many of those type of shards you need to have. So shards are similar to like Magic the Gathering's land cards, so you need to have played 2 of those red shards to be able to play this guy, and you need to have 4 open, let's say crystals or mana or whatever, shards, let's say. So you could have played 2 red shards and 2 blue shards, and that means you have the threshold for 2 red cards and the threshold for 2 blue cards, or a combination of the 2. And at the start of each turn, you'll have 4 open shards, crystals, or mana available, whatever, to play 4 cost guys, and this is a 4 cost guy, so if you meet that, you can play this guy. He's a 4 attack, 4 defense troop here, and troops in this game, again, are very much like Magic the Gathering, where they heal at the end of each turn. So if a 3/3 attacks a 4/4, it's going to die, and if the player who had the 3/3 can't do the last remaining damage with a spell or a buff or some kind of effect, then Zoltog here, who's a 4/4, on the next turn will still become, again, a 4/4 in full swing. So the troops have kind of like a card type, the trait, so he's an Orc Ranger. He's unique, you can only have 1 of them in your deck. Now, you can have 4 of any card in your deck, but in the PvE world of the game, there are much more restrictions into what you can have, so it's probably going to remain challenging even though you might have a large amount of cards. And the game text is basically the ability of what it triggers and a few other things that don't really matter too much for the general case here. Now, there are the troop cards. There's a few other cards in the game, and there are the constant cards. Constant cards is basically self-descriptive. It's a card that you play that just sticks on the board and has a lasting effect. It's pretty difficult to remove these cards from play. Through my limited experience of the game, I've only seen one effect that actually removes this. They're the artifact cards, which are basically kind of like shardless, colorless type of cards. They can be played with any type of deck, with any combination of colored shard crystals. There's the troop cards, which we had an example of. There's a resource card, so this is kind of like the Magic the Gathering land card equivalent. And the action card. And action cards are usually playable at any stage in the game. So if your opponent does want to try to play, a troop on his own turn, and you have a card that stops him from playing a troop, he could play the troop, and then you could play the card on his turn, even though it's not your turn, to stop him from playing the troop. So it is a much more interactive, in-depth type of card game, and it allows for, again, more possibilities, more depth. Now let's get into the game here. So here I can show you guys some of just the basic aspects of the game. There's the campaign mode, which is kind of what I've been keeping up with here, and there is a crazy amount of stuff with that. There's the store, there's different types of packs, so you can buy starter decks if you're really lacking cards. I've heard that you generally don't want to open packs because you can use them to enter tournaments and all that, but I am not on that level yet, so I wouldn't worry about that quite yet. You can see your full collection here, but you can also see your collection within the campaign, and in the campaign, again, there are other restrictions at play. So you might have like 3 of one card, but the campaign might restrict you to 2 of that specific card. So there's a lot of stuff that you have to look into, you have to mess around with. Now I mentioned it's a lot like an MMO. It is like that because it has like the chat clients, it has an auction house. So it is actually a trading card game online. It is not like Hearthstone where you can't trade any cards. You can trade cards, and you can trade them with gold, which is the currency that you acquire by doing quests and a lot of the other stuff. You have about 10,000 gold, so if I wanted here an Arena Brawler, I could purchase one for 777 or a Zombie Vulture for 333. The auction house system is very in-depth and basically does exactly what you think it would. It allows you to sell the cards you don't want, and it allows you to buy cards that you want. It basically allows you to manipulate your RNG from your previous pack openings. But it's not just cards. There's a lot of other aspects of the game here. You can see equipment, you can see chests, you can see packs, you can see mercenaries. Now, I'm not going to go into absolutely every detail of all this stuff, but let's just go through a little bit here. So this is my campaign. You can start the campaign as one of many different races, one of many different classes, one of many different decks. You can then alter your decks. Again, this is that type of game where the possibilities are truly endless. So let's just continue my campaign. I'm level 5. I don't think I've even really scratched the surface of the campaign, and this is only with one small aspect of it, so there's really a lot. The reason I don't think I've scratched the surface is this is my talent tree. You do have like abilities, so the ability of a warrior is to use 2 damage and take the damage back by attacking one creature, and you can do that every like so number of turns based on the number of shards that you've played. And you can modify this hero ability through many different ways. There are manipulation effects. You can just have passive buffs to cards in your deck with training combat. There are manipulation effects to just the grand parts of the game. So in like a lot of card games, as you'll see here, you can go first or second. That's based on luck, but you can choose to manipulate that luck. You can choose to always go second, and you can receive a bonus from doing that. So there's a lot of this give and take, and I really like that about a game. So there are some aspects that are clearly advantageous, but there's a lot that are not so one-dimensional. You gain something, of course, but you lose something at the same time, and balancing many of these abilities on your same hand makes it for a very interesting and a very in-depth experience. So we have that system. You can see from the card manager, and I'll just quickly go through the basis of my deck. The basis of my deck is one that fairly closely follows from what you're given by picking this exact hero. I picked a warrior and I picked a Venom. The Venom in this game are guys that generally try to remove cards from your opponent's deck and fill it with spiders. So what are spiders? Spiders are 1/1 unblockable minions, and you will see that I will have quite a few of them. Now, I have mostly high rarity cards because I did go kind of on a spending spree, but you can kind of see how the cards work. So this is a rare card here, Exarch of the Egg. He costs 2 of the resource, but you need to have 1 purple shard. I think this is called a blood shard. He has 1 attack and 3 defense. He's lethal, so you can see any amount of damage this deals to a troop is fatal, so it kills anything that it hits. And when this or another Venom enters play under your control, create 2 Spiderling Eggs for opposing champion and put them into their deck. So Spiderling Eggs are cards that, when they're either discarded or drawn, give you this 1/1 unblockable minion here that you see. And the idea of the deck is to fill their decks with spiders and use cards like Azure Fang Decree to remove cards from their deck by basically milling them, and through milling, they have less of a deck to play with, and they have a lot of these spiders discarded in the process that become your minions, and basically you get completely out of control. It's kind of like a combo minion-based mill deck. And trust me, that is the best of the best when it comes to my entertainment value in card games. Now, there are other type of spiders. You can have tarantula eggs, and tarantula eggs are much bigger minions. It's harder to put these in their deck, but the concept is the same. You want to fill their deck with a bunch of these very destructive spiders. You have cards that can destroy their deck. This is a legendary, the Bastard Spawn of Bakrug, and he's a flight minion, so flight is basically like flying. It can only be blocked by minions that can specifically block flight minions or other flight minions, and when this deals damage to an opponent champion, bury the top half of their deck. And you can have as many cards as you want in your deck, I think up to like, I don't know, 1,000 or so. I don't know, the minimum is 60, that's what I have here. I like to cruise by the minimum to min-max that stuff. You can, if one or more eggs are put into your deck, you put +1 that many instead. You can have 2 of these in your PvE Venom deck, so I have 2 of those. And you can have one very interesting card here. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go, the Brood Baron. So at the start of your turn, create a copy of each egg in target opponent's champion's deck and put them into their deck. So if they have like 5 eggs, then this ability triggers at the start of your turn and puts 5 eggs in their deck. But if you have the Hatchery Cultivator, it basically triples. Or if you have 2, well, quadruples. So that is pretty nice, because having 5 eggs is actually a pretty small number. Sometimes you can stuff their deck with like 20 eggs, and then you can triple 20 eggs to 60, and then next turn you triple that 60 to 180, and then they have nothing but eggs and they die instantly. And I have another aspect to this deck where when a spider enters play, this card deals 1 damage to my opponent, and I gain life for the damage dealt this way. So sometimes when I'm starting off my spider combos, I don't have very much health left. This Vilefang Eremite kind of steps in and either kills my opponent through feedback loops like the Psychic Torment when an opponent's champion is dealt damage. So if he draws a spider or discards a spider, he takes a damage, then the Psychic Torment happens again. So if he has enough spiders in his deck, and if I have multiples of each of one of these cards in play, it basically creates an infinite combo. And that's how this game operates. It operates on a much higher complexity scale and on a much higher power level than most card games. So most decks that I've seen have situations where they are completely unstoppable. We have these feedback loops, we have infinite combos, but it seems pretty balanced. Yeah, I want to walk you guys through a game so you can see kind of what it's like as I describe all the different aspects, and then I'll show you guys some of the cool moments I've experienced in the past. Alright, so again, you can choose to go, you either go first or second based on the coin flip, but because of the talent that you saw that I had, I always go second. At the start of a game, you get your own hand here of 6 cards. You can choose to keep it or get rid of it. I think in my case, even though this is not a particularly good hand, I have some shards here. I won't get shard screwed, so I am going to choose to keep this hand. It's not great. With my deck here, I can choose to keep some marginal hands here. So my opponent goes first, now it's my turn. You can play 1 shard per turn, and we can see here at the bottom that I have 1 out of 1 resource pool and 1 blood shard to meet threshold requirements. So this requires 1 blood threshold requirement and 3 total resource. So I haven't picked up any blue resource. Now I can choose to play the Skitter of the Arachnid. I can play this for free if one of the Venom I control deals damage to a champion, but I think I might as well play it here because I'm not really playing anything else, and your resource pool does regenerate at the start of every single turn. So my opponent here hasn't really played anything. I have this Taming Sphere in play because it is a quest kind of item, so it doesn't really have much to do with anything here. My opponent is playing this Feral Tooth Ambusher. It has speed and crush. Speed allows it to attack the same turn that it's played, and crush allows its damage to go through even though the creatures are blocked. This game functions very similarly to a lot of the Magic Gathering combat mechanics, at least the turn-by-turn combat mechanics. So basically, whenever an opponent wants to attack, he attacks the other player. And then that player who's being attacked can choose whether or not and if he chooses to block. So he has two 2/1 minions. I have a 1/4. If he attacked, I would block with my 1/4 and his would die. At least one of his would die. So probably to save his creatures, he's not going to attack, but he does attack. He has some resource left, and in the combat stage he can play some action cards to kind of ruin my day here. Because he attacked, I'm actually kind of afraid that he might have a buff. While a 2/1 does die to a 1/4 for free, and as you remember, the health of my 4 will heal at the end of the turn, I'm kind of a little bit afraid of a buff, and I have a fairly valuable minion in play, so I'm actually just going to take the damage here. So there's a lot of tough decisions like this. You also notice that the Vilefang Emirate has a slot here. My character, who's going around the world with his pool of cards and his deck here, actually is wearing gear, and the gear that I use modifies specific cards. So there's more things to the game than just the cards themselves. There's modifiers, there's chests that you can unlock some of these, there's like a whole gambling system through the chests, and it can get really crazy. Now, the benefit of not attacking last turn is that now I can deal damage directly to his face with this troop here, and because he's a Venom, I could play Skitter of the Arachnid #2 for free. So I'm going to play my Eggblight Stalker, which doesn't do too much, but is at least a creature with flight. The socket in this one is flight. You can socket these minions, and that makes for another level of additional complexity. So I will declare attackers. He has no troops to block, so I should be dealing this damage here. The damage is dealt, and it asks if I want to trigger the Skitter of the Arachnid for free. And yes, I would like to play a card for free. Seems like a good deal here. Now, my hero power here, it requires to have 4 resource pooled, but it doesn't actually cost resource. You just need to, over time, play these number of cards. So we're talking about resource cards. I've played 3 resource cards, and that's why there's a 3 here. And once I play every 4 resource cards that I play, I can activate my hero's ability. My hero's ability basically kills one of my opponent minions, so that can be pretty good here. He's attacking again with the 2/1s. I am actually going to try to block one of them. He only has 1 resource left and 1 card in hand, so I don't think there's too many things that can punish me. Okay, and this does create a dart to input. Okay, so he does not punish my blocking ability. I essentially killed one of his troops for free. Now, I can't play anything in my hand because I only have the blood resource. I haven't been lucky enough to draw any of my blue shards, so I can't really play that. I can't really play that. This requires a total of 5 resource. I have 3 resource pool, and this requires 6. So I just can't really do anything, and because the resource, again, does get regenerated at the start of every turn, I might as well try to use my questing thing here. You have 50% chance to tame an untamed troop. So let's try to tame that. Did we get a tame? We did not. We got wrecked. I'm not going to attack because these have Skyguard, and this can block as though it had flight. This is a troop that does have flight because of the socket, but I don't want it to die for free. Looks like his draw for the turn was one of the Spiderlings that I dumped in his deck, so now I get a 2/1/1 Spiderling with unblockable, so I can attack every single turn with that if I wish. He's attacking here with his Feral Tooth Ambusher again. This is a bit peculiar. I think my creature with flight is less valuable than this one because this is the troop that has that drain life effect whenever he does draw or mill a Spiderling. So I'm going to try to block with this as it's slightly less valuable troop, even though it has a little bit higher stats there. Oh, looks like I got another freebie. Oh, looks like we're still getting a bit unlucky here with these shards. I'm going to do the only thing I can do is to attempt to tame one of the troops in play, and I failed the 50-50 again. Might as well attack with my Spiderling because it is unblockable. I can deal 1 damage every turn and essentially grind him out over time. Now it looks like this is not going to be one of those games where I have just crazy combos. I'm not too sure why he's attacking. He has no cards in hand, so I really don't have to worry about any recourse to blocking his attack here. So I'm just going to block with my Valiant. It doesn't matter. There's nothing that he can do to finish my troop off. There we go. That Sapphire Shard enables me to play a whole number of cards here. I'm going to play the Hatchery Cultivator. If one or more eggs we put in the opponent's champion deck, put +1 instead. I want to play that first before I start playing some of the other cards, as they can ramp up a little bit. Now, I have a bit of a choice here. This is a pretty interesting one. I can use my hero power to deal 2 damage to one of his troops, but I don't know if I really want to do that. I can attack with this, and it would injure one of his troops to 1 health, and then I could choose to kill that one off. That's not a great deal in my opinion. I would rather use my hero power later on against a more valuable troop. I'm just going to attack with my unblockable minion. He can't really do too much about it. While the resource does get dumped and regenerated at the end of every turn, the counter for how many shards that you play that has to do with your hero power does not reset throughout the game, so you can save that up. We got another crystal there. It gives me a total of 5 resource. I can play Sartix, the Bishop of the Azure Fang. So when a Venet enters play under your control, create a spider spawn and put it into play. When a spider deals damage to your opponent, champion, draw a card. Do I have 2 blue to activate this? I do not. I only have 1 blue, so I can't really do too much. I can choose to either play him, I can choose to tame one of my opponent's troops there. Again, that's only a quest thing, you don't normally get that option. Or I can go with the Rune Web Infiltrator plus the Azure Fang Decree. I can do the Azure Fang Decree because it's going to put 10 Spiderling eggs because of the Hatchery Cultivator. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to play the... well... when a Venet enters play near your control, create a spider spawn. That does get a little bit crazy. Let's do this first, and then we'll start with the shenanigans next turn there. Looks like it triggers off of himself, and that's a pretty sweet deal there. I'm going to attack with my unblockable creature there, and normally this would give me a card, but it does not do that because I do not have the threshold of 2 blue resource. My opponent is basically locked because he has a very small amount of cards left. Oh, now we did get the blue resource, and now we are going to get a little bit out of control here. I can play a Venom, which will trigger his ability there, which will give me another spider, and then I can put 10, not 5 spiders, and discard 5 cards from the top. And if any spiders land, I'm going to put them directly into play. It looks like we got pretty lucky. We got 2 spiders spawning from that effect. I'm going to attack with the 2 spiderlings. Oh! This is not unblockable. Spider spawn is not unblockable. Well, I guess I screwed that up. Not a big deal, though. I am going to be able to use my hero's ability here to do 2 damage and finish off his last remaining minion there. Throughout this whole time, my Gallo Gas, when a troop dies, if this is in your hand, it gains +1/+1. So this has been getting buffed up, and because it has a major socket, when this enters play, bury cards from the top of the opponent's champion's deck equal to the troop's combined attack and health. That is most of their deck. So when that goes off, it will be really, really crazy. My opponent will probably instantly die because of the effect of the Vilefang Emerite. So let's just do that. Why not, right? 18 cards, and if there's 2 spiders in there, my opponent will die. Well, that was simple. So as you can see, there are some crazy concepts. The complexity is off the charts. It does take some time to get used to the game, but you know, speaking from experience, with games are based on their depth that really attract the hardcore players, there is a lot of satisfaction to learning and exploring this type of world, this type of game. So I hope you guys do check out HEX the game, because I've had a blast playing it, and I do think you guys will as well. Check out the games to come, and I'll see you guys on my channel. Still only 1 blue. Yeah, I can only gain health here. Looks like I am gaining a lot of health. A lot of health. A lot of health. Okay then. Okay, more health.
God, that's such an insane hand. I have like every nuts card, but no lands. Yeah, I have to keep that. That's his ability. +1/+1 for each card in your hand. Okay, that's actually completely insane. When this enters play, may put target troop into its controller's hand. What is a sap battle cry? Oh my god. Drawn only lands now. We have like a loop with this and that. Gain 4 health. Oh, it's a 9/9, that's kind of bad. So that'll drop 2 cards. No Spider Bros yet. I don't know what he played. Yeah, can't stop that. Take a lot of damage there. There we go, Spider Bro, Spider Bro. Spider Bro. Spider Bro, healing. Nice. Alright, we can play another one now. Put a couple more in his deck. Okay, I definitely don't want to attack with that. The flyer? No. I think just all the spiderlings, honestly. Actually, screw it. Nah. Should be good enough. I might just kill him here. Because I have double the cards. It's a loop. I think it's an infinite loop with 2. Yeah. I think I just created an infinite loop. Whenever he takes damage, he discards a card, and every time he draws a spider, he takes 2 damage. He discards 2 more cards. Well, I got Zilth and 3 mana, so I'm gonna keep that. The main problem is I can't play that guy on 3 because I don't have 2 purple shards. No! Oh. I got a 1-cost cultivator. That's fine, actually. Kinda want to be mana efficient, but... It dies, draw a card. Fine. I think I'm just gonna draw. Because I really want to play a crystal next turn. Exhaust target card. What does -2 do? Oh, damn. That's a pretty heavy guy. Oh, that has spell shield. Oh! I should have exhausted on his turn, huh? Oh, that was dumb. Okay. I don't really care to take damage right now, it's fine. It's gonna put 4 more. Okay. Oh. Yes, please. Flight spell shield. Yeah, it's fine. I don't really want to attack, I'll just block. Oh! Oh wow, that's actually insane. Double up on those spiders. Oh, I thought that had flying. It does have flight. Oh, his has flight too now? Oh, I guess I got wrecked. Okay, fine. Okay, so I get to kill both his guys. Yeah, I'd like to draw. I'd like to draw. I got this guy. double up on his spiders. Oh, how did I just win? What? What? I didn't have anything that killed him there. Did he just win the game when he has 250, like, spiders? When I do get spiders, it'll get pretty intense. 4 attack. It's at 6. Yeah, I guess I'll take 6. He's got no cards left, so fine. No, that guy's super valuable. I don't really want to attack. Still's drawn no spiders. Still no spiders. Okay. But he's got no cards, so. Okay. He's just drawn land too. Oh, I'm just drawing land. Okay, it's a pretty fun game. I just need like 1 spider. There we go. 1 spider. 2 spiders. 3 spiders. Okay, I'm pretty sure he's just instantly gonna lose now. This mills him 12. He's got a shitload of spiders. And for each spider I get, he loses 2 life and I gain 2 life. So I'm pretty sure he just dies here.